In every city, there are places where people go to feel important, where the lighting is soft, the floors are polished, and the air is sprinkled with the scent of wealth. But in this story, one of those places made a mistake, a big mistake, one that would shake an entire community, expose hidden cruelty, and leave everyone asking the same question: how far can a man go when he's pushed too far? This is the story of Samuel Oke, the quiet man no one saw coming. It began on a Friday evening. The mall was buzzing, the luxury wing glowing like a shrine for the wealthy. Samuel walked in wearing a simple blue shirt, jeans, and worn-out sneakers. Nothing fancy, nothing designer. Just a man who looked like he came from a long day of work. He stepped into Crescent Atelier, the most prestigious boutique in the mall, a place known for gold-trimmed shelves and even sharper attitudes. "Excuse me, sir," the salesperson, Tanya, said with a mocking smile. "May I help you find the food court?" "The luxury stores are that way," Samuel calmly replied. "No, I'm here. I'd like to see the limited collection." She cut him off immediately. "Sir, those pieces start from 3 million naira. We only show them to serious buyers." A few customers turned and whispered. Some giggled. Samuel's voice stayed steady. "I didn't ask for the price. I asked to see the collection." Tanya sighed loudly. "Sir, we don't want fingerprints on delicate pieces. Unless you're planning to purchase something, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Her tone wasn't just rude, it was humiliating. Deliberately loud, deliberately cutting. Security approached and escorted Samuel out, while Tanya muttered, "These people want champagne treatment with biscuit money." Samuel didn't yell. He didn't fight. He simply walked out, his face calm but something burning deep behind his eyes. What no one knew, not Tanya, not the customers, not even the security guard, was that Samuel wasn't some struggling passerby. He was the CEO of Oke Holdings, one of the fastest-growing investment firms in West Africa, a man whose wealth was quiet but vast, and the mall he had just been thrown out of. He had been negotiating to buy shares in it for months. That night, Samuel made a decision. He picked up his phone and said only one sentence: "Move the purchase forward. No delays. I want full controlling ownership tomorrow morning." The next day at 9 a.m., the mall staff gathered in the main lobby for an urgent announcement. Confusion rippled through the crowd. Moments later, the doors opened and Samuel walked in, this time in a perfectly tailored black suit. The mall director cleared his throat nervously. "Ladies and gentlemen, meet the new owner of Crystal Pines Mall, Mr. Samuel Oke." Shock, silence, a few gasps. Tanya's face drained of all color. She scrambled toward him with a forced smile. "Sir, welcome back. I didn't recognize you yesterday." "If I had known," Samuel cut her off. "I wasn't any different yesterday." He looked directly at her. "Tanya, I reviewed the footage of our interaction." Her mask cracked. "Sir, you don't understand. I was only doing my job. Luxury stores have certain standards." "Yes," Samuel replied. "And now this mall has new standards too." He handed her a letter. She unfolded it with trembling hands. "A termination letter, effective immediately," he said. Her voice broke, and for a moment she looked as if the world had fallen beneath her feet. But Samuel wasn't done. "From today, this mall will operate differently. No discrimination, no profiling, no humiliating anyone because of appearance or assumptions. Every customer will be treated with respect." The staff applauded. Some cried with relief. For a moment, justice felt real. It felt right. But justice has a way of shaking the wrong people. Later that afternoon, Samuel returned to his new office to sign additional documents. All seemed calm until his assistant burst in. "Sir, we have a problem," she said. An anonymous message just came in. Samuel looked up. "What message?" She swallowed hard and handed him a phone. On the screen were chilling words. "You should have left things the way they were. You don't know who you're messing with." Attached was a blurry photo of Samuel's home. "Where did this come from?" he asked. "We're still tracing it," the assistant replied. "But sir, there's something else. Crescent Atelier's former manager is missing." Samuel's jaw tightened. In that moment, he understood something terrifying. What he thought was a simple act of justice was only the beginning of a much darker battle. Samuel believed he had stepped into victory, but instead he had stepped into a war. Someone powerful, someone threatened, someone who wanted him silent. And as night fell over the newly purchased mall, one truth echoed through the shadows. The real fight had only just begun. Night settled heavily over the city as Samuel returned home, the earlier threat echoing in his mind. The message, the photo of his house, the missing store manager. None of it felt random. Someone was trying to intimidate him, to push him backward into silence. But he wasn't that kind of man. The more they pushed, the deeper he dug. Inside his home office, Samuel reviewed the mall's records again. Crescent Atelier's books were suspicious. Missing invoices, coded transfers, unexplained shipments. It wasn't just rude customer service. Something criminal was hiding beneath the luxury displays. Whoever had sent the threats wasn't afraid of losing a job. They were afraid of losing a whole operation. His phone buzzed again. Another message. "Stop digging or we dig into you." This time, the photo attached wasn't of his house. It was of his mother's small shop in the village. Samuel's jaw tightened. They had crossed a line he would not forgive. He made a call. "Grace, it's urgent. I need you." Officer Grace Adama arrived. With her laptop and a hardened expression, that meant she already suspected trouble. "Samuel, this is serious. Crescent Atelier's former management has ties to a laundering syndicate. Your takeover of the mall cut off their access. They won't let that go. So, buying the mall threatened their entire pipeline," Samuel muttered. Grace nodded, and embarrassing their people publicly only made it worse. Before Samuel could respond, a loud thud sounded outside. Then another. Then multiple. Cars. Not one, several. Grace peeked through the curtain. Black SUVs, no plates. This is a coordinated move. Men stepped out calmly, hands in their pockets, strides confident. These were not hired thugs. These were professionals. A voice called out from the darkness. "Mr. Oke, we need to talk," Grace whispered. "Stay down." But Samuel listened carefully. The voice wasn't shouting. It carried authority, control. This was the man giving orders, not taking them. "Walk out," the voice said, "and we settle this quietly. Stay inside, and things become unpredictable." Samuel didn't move. "I'm not coming out." The voice sighed, disappointed. "Then we're coming in." Glass shattered as a metal canister crashed into the living room, releasing thick smoke. But it wasn't tear gas. It was a tracker, blinking a faint red light. "They want you alive," Grace whispered. She grabbed Samuel's arm and pulled him toward the back hallway, but footsteps echoed inside the house. Soft, controlled, spreading through each room with precision. A voice murmured closer than before. "You interfered with something bigger than a mall. But you already know that, don't you?" Grace raised her weapon, breathing steadily. "Samuel, if they take you, they'll use you. They'll control you. You cannot go with them." Samuel swallowed hard. "Then we end this tonight." The footsteps stopped right outside the door. But something unexpected happened. Samuel's phone buzzed again. A final message. He looked down and froze. It wasn't a threat. It was a video. A live video. A camera feed showing his mother's shop, surrounded by men. One held a lighter. Grace saw Samuel's face and whispered, "No, no, no." The voice outside spoke again, calmly. You have 10 seconds. Come with us, or we burn everything you love." Samuel's chest tightened. Every muscle in his body screamed to resist, to fight, to stand his ground. But his mother, she was the only family he had left. Grace shook her head desperately. "Samuel, don't go out there. You step outside, you're gone." The countdown began. 10. Smoke thickened around the living room. 9. Grace held his arm, refusing to let go. 8. Samuel looked at her, the only person standing between him and a shadowed empire. 7. He whispered, "Grace, thank you." 6. He gently pulled his arm free. 5. Grace's eyes filled with horror. "Samuel, don't." 4. Samuel walked toward the front door. 3. He placed his hand on the handle. 2. He inhaled deeply. 1. Samuel opened the door. The men in black stared at him with cold triumph. The leader stepped forward, the faint light revealing his face for the first time. Calm, sharply dressed, eyes hardened like steel, Samuel stared back at him, unblinking. "I'm here," he said. "Now let my mother go." The leader smiled faintly. "Oh, Samuel, this is so much bigger than your mother." He leaned closer. "Welcome to the real owners of your mall." Samuel didn't flinch. "You came after the wrong man." The leader chuckled softly. "On the contrary, we came exactly for the right one." The men closed in around Samuel, forming a silent circle. Grace watched helplessly from inside the smoke-filled room as the door shut in her face and the night swallowed Samuel whole.